Hello everyone. In this tutorial we explain how to install and use Llama 3.1 large language model on a local computer in Python and Windows. Here is some background information for those of you who are not familiar with Llama and large language models. Llama is a family of LLMs or large language models released by Meta AI. Meta AI is formerly known as Facebook. The newest version of Llama is Llama 3.1, and according to the tests, it outperforms other LLMs. Also, smaller models can be run locally on a computer. By the end of this tutorial, you will be able to write a Llama script in Python on your local machine, and the script will be able to provide you with intelligent and AI-generated answers. So here is how the script will look like, and it's very simple. We will use PyTorch. We will load a model. This will be a pre-trained model. We will set a few settings over here, and over here in this dictionary we are going to define our answer. And my answer will be, what is a transfer function? Then we will define a pipe, and over here Llama will generate the answer, and over here we will print the answer. Simple as that. However, before I start with explanations, I need to mention that this tutorial might be tricky. Consequently, it is of paramount importance that you carefully follow and reproduce every step that I'm making and explaining. Okay, here's a simple demonstrator of what you will learn in this video tutorial and how Llama 3.1 is executed on a local computer. Here is a script that I wrote and that explains how to use Llama. Over here we will ask a question. For example, let's ask the question, how to solve a quadratic equation. And let's do this. Let's save this script. Let's close this. Then over here we can simply type python test1.py to execute this script. And now this is real-time execution of Llama 3.1 on our local computer. And over here you can actually see what's happening with our GPU. You can see the memory consumption, and you can see the resource consumption. And here is the answer. Here's the first answer, and this looks really reasonable. And here's the second answer, and this looks really reasonable. So it works perfectly. Here are the software and hardware prerequisites. First of all, you need to have Anaconda together with Spider, and Spider is a Python editor. You can install Anaconda easily by going to this website, then by just skipping registration or registering, doesn't matter, and then you can click over here to download Anaconda. Simple as that. Now, you don't need to use Anaconda. You can install everything from a simple Windows command prompt and use some other Python editors such as VS Code. It's your choice. Then you need to have a GPU, or the graphics processing unit. In this tutorial and on my machine, I'm using NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090. However, you can also run Llama on your computer CPU if you know how to optimize it, and this is not difficult. However, I'm not going to explain this in this tutorial. I will assume that you have a GPU. Then you will need to have some additional Python software that we will automatically install in this tutorial. So the main thing is actually to have a GPU. However, as I mentioned, you can also run Llama locally without GPU. It will just be slower. Okay, let's start. The first step is to go to the Hugging Face website, and then you can either log in if you already have an account, or if you don't have an account, you can sign up. Over here I will log in and I will enter my username and my password. Okay, and I will simply log in. I'm not going to save. Now, the next step is actually over here to search for Llama model. Click over here and search for Llama. Llama is spelled with double LL, and since this tutorial is actually made in July 2024, Llama was released just a week ago, and you can see that it's very popular. And over here you have several versions and several models. I'm going to select this model over here since it has 8 billion parameters and this is not a large model. You also have this model over here, however it has 405 billion parameters and this is a huge model. So let's select this model since it's smaller, and now you need to actually expand and read this license. Okay. So go all the way down, You need to register. The model is actually free. So I'm going to enter my name, my surname. You need to enter the date of birth, which I will not disclose. Then you need to enter your country, affiliation, job title, and here you need to click and submit. So I will do this and then I will continue with this video tutorial. After you click the submit button, you will see this message. It's saying that your request to access this repository has been submitted and is waiting for approval from the repository authors. And over here, if you click on settings, you can see that currently the status is pending. And over here, be patient. It might take 10-15 minutes until you'll see over here that status changed and it became approved. So just be patient, it will happen. In my case, it took around 10 minutes for this request to be approved, and then you can simply click over here and you will be able to see the files. To see the files, click over here and here it is. Here is the repository containing the model. Our next goal is to actually download, or better to say to clone, these files, or better to say this folder. So let's learn how to do that. To be able to download this model, we need to create a token or a form of a password. So to do that, click over here, go back to the settings, and over here click on access tokens and click on create a new token. So I will call my token token 1, for example, and here you need to do several things. First of all, you need to select this option. This will enable you actually to download the repository from the command line by using Git. And this is very important to select. Don't forget to do this. And then scroll all the way down and over here click on create token. When I do that, a token will be created. Now, a token is a form of a password and you should keep it confidential. Consequently, I will keep it confidential and you will not be able to see it. Once this token is being created, copy and paste it and save it in a separate notepad file since we will be using this token. The next step is to create a workspace folder, and in this folder we will clone or download our Llama 3.1 repository, and in this folder we will write and execute our Python script. So let's do that. For that purpose, click on Start and search for command prompt. And over here, I will maximize the command prompt and let me change a few settings such that you can see better what I'm typing. Here it is okay. And now you can see clearly. So over here, I like to put all of my folders inside of this codes folder, and inside I will create a folder called Llama 3.1 or 31, let's call it like this. Then I will go to my folder Llama 31 and I will download the complete repository in this folder. Let's learn how to do that. To be able to download the model, you need to have Git tools installed on your system. The best check is to actually type in this command window Git, and if you see this response, this means that you can actually download and that you have Git installed. If you don't see a response, then you need to go to this website over here and you need to download Git. Here you have installation instructions, and if you scroll all the way down, here are the installation instructions for Windows system. So over here, download and install Git. Then restart your computer and restart the terminal. Go back over here and type Git and you should see the response. Let me clear this window so we can continue. Okay, so here is the main idea. We will type this command, git clone, only this git will be lowercase. Then we will specify our Hugging Face username, then the token name, then we will add this. Now these angle brackets are actually not there, right? So when you write your token over here, you will just write a token and erase these angle brackets. The same thing is for username. But the main question is, what is a username? Let's figure it out. So go back over here to the Hugging Face, then click over here, click actually on settings, and over here you can see my username. In your case, you will see your username. So I will simply copy this username. I will place it over here like this. And then over here you need to write a token. So you erase this and write your token. I'm just now writing random letters. This will be the token. This is very important here. So let me just write letters such that you're not confused with other symbols. Then you need to add at. Then you need to type huggingface.co, and over here you need to type the path to your model. So let's figure out how to find the path to the model. Go back over here to Hugging Face, click on settings over here, go back to the gated repositories, click over here, and we want to download this repository, click on files. You'll be currently in the main over here branch. You don't want to do that. This is the thing you want, right? You want this. Or if you go back, this is the only thing you need. So what you will do, you're going to simply copy this, go back over here and type it like this. Okay. So, and this is a single line. Everything should be in single line executed. So now I will go here, copy this. I will go to my terminal, and then I'm going to simply paste it over here and execute. Again, over here there should not be spacings. So let me just fix this such that you don't have issues. So there are no spacings here. There are no spacings here. And this is how it is. Of course, this is not my correct token. I'm going to now stop this video and I'm going to enter my correct token that you cannot see. Basically, that's my password. Okay. After I execute the command, you will see this. Cloning into Meta Llama 3.1 8B instruct. And you can see enumerating objects, counting objects, etc. Now, over here you have to be very patient. Currently, you can see that my download speed is 4.04 MB per second, and this is, to be honest, not the fastest download speed. So this will take a while, maybe even half an hour or even an hour, depending on how fast is your internet connection. However, be patient. This will execute because it's downloading. Just be patient. Go somewhere, take a break, drink a coffee, and wait. Over here, we are actually downloading more than 30 gigabytes of data, and the best strategy to verify that something is actually being downloaded is to click over here on codes and click on Llama 3.1. Then you can see that the folder is actually being created, and in this folder you can see that already some files are being downloaded. And over here you can see another file, and you just have to be patient. It will take some time. So go back to the terminal and be patient. Currently we are maybe 2 or 3 minutes into the download process. Here's another important comment. Sometimes this progress window might not be updated although the content is being downloaded. So the goal over here that sometimes you need to press enter to update this download screen. So do that several times to make sure that everything is being downloaded. So a few times just press enter. After approximately 30 minutes, the download is completed, and you can simply type this command and you will see the actual folder. This folder contains all we need to have. That is, it contains several models. Here are the models. The next step is to create our Anaconda environment such that we can install the packages and run the program. To do that, we need to type over here Conda create Then let's set this parameter and let's call this package like this. Llama env. Okay. And press enter. Make sure that you're in this folder. This is very important. Proceed and yes. Okay. Next, we need to activate this environment. To activate the environment, we need to type conda activate, and then we need to specify the name of our environment. And here it is. Now magic happens. Over here in parentheses, you can see that our environment is active, and we can continue with installation of programs. The first step is to install PyTorch. To install PyTorch, we need to find the proper conda command. Consequently, go to this website, then scroll down and find this table. Over here, let's click on stable, let's click Windows, let's click conda, click Python, and over here you need to select the proper CUDA version. My GPU can actually run CUDA 11.8 and 12.1. However, in this tutorial, I will select CUDA 11.8, and I need to simply copy and paste this command over here. On the other hand, if you want to install a CPU version, click over here and copy and paste this command. However, CPU version is slower. So let's go back to the terminal, and here's the command that we need to execute. So let's run this command. And over here you need to be patient, since this will take maybe several minutes. Proceed, yes, and let's continue. And you can see the progress over here. Okay, the next step is to install Hugging Face Hub. So let's do that. I will do it like this by executing this command. So I will type over here conda install conda forge. Over here we need to type Hugging Face Hub, and that's it. So let's run this. Over here again you have to be patient a little bit, since this might take some time. And you can see solving environment, proceed, yes, and you can see that this is relatively quick. However, this might take some time. That is, let's install transformers. To do that, we need to type conda install conda forge, and we need transformers. And let's do that. Hopefully we didn't make some spelling error. Let's see what happens right now. Again, let's confirm that everything is fine. Hopefully it will be. Now we see solving environment. And this will take some time actually. Proceed, yes. And over here again, you should be patient. And finally, we need to install accelerate. That is, we need to execute this command, and I've wrote it over here, and I will run it. And let's see what will happen now here. Let me just go back. Yes. And let's be patient again. Once we complete this installation, that is, once this command is executed, we will write our code. And hopefully there will be no errors, and we will be able to use Llama 3.1. So let's be patient over here, since this is the last step. Yes. Okay, we are good. So let's see the content of our folder over here. This folder contains all the installed packages, and this folder is probably 5 or 6 GB. Okay. Next, let's create our Python file. Over here, for simplicity, I will simply use Notepad to create my file. So I will type Notepad, and I will call the file test1.python. And here it is. I simply copy and pasted the file. And let's explain this file line by line. So let's see what's happening over here. First of all, over here we import transformers and we import from transformers pipeline. After importing transformers pipeline, we import PyTorch. We write it like this, import torch. Over here is maybe the most important line in this code. This line actually specifies the path to our model, and this is very important. Consequently, open the Explorer, go to C, and let's make sure that this path is correct. I go to codes, Llama, and over here I have this path. So I will simply copy and paste this path just for comparison, and I will over here just paste it or erase this later on. That is, I just want to make sure that the path is correct. Now, when you specify path in Python, you have to do, instead of this single character, you have to do double character. That is, you need to do this backslash, or however you call this symbol, twice. So if you have once over here, you need to have it twice over here, etc. And so make sure that the path is correct, and it is. Okay, so erase this, and let's continue. The next step is to create our pipeline. We call it text generation. We specify the model ID over here, and that's precisely the path to our model. Then we specify some arguments. We specify float 16 representation of numbers, and we specify over here CUDA, that is that we want to use our parallel computing. And here is our question. Okay, so you want to ask Llama a question. So let's, for example, ask another question: how to make an orange juice. Okay, let's see what the answer would be. Then over here, we need to specify another pipe. We specify the outputs. These outputs will contain the response. We need to specify the message, that is this dictionary over here. Then we need to specify max new tokens. This is one of the parameters of Llama that I will not explain in this video tutorial. Do sample fast, another parameter that you can play, and in addition to these parameters you also have probably 20 or 30 more parameters that can be used to tune the response. And over here we get the response like this, and then finally we print the response. Simple as that. So simply type this code. I will save this, I will close this window, then I will go back to my terminal, and over here I will execute this file. So let's see the file again. Here it is. So let's type python test1.py, and let's see the output. Now here you have to be patient. For the time being, I will open my task manager to see the GPU. I can see the performance. Here's my GPU. Something happened over here. Loading checkpoint shards. This means that we have loaded our model. And let's see what's happening with GPU. Okay, we can see that the memory going up, going up, going up. Let's see what's happening further. And you can see that GPU is doing something. Now here you have some warnings which are currently not important, since we have to only focus on the final result. We can see that replies just created. So let's see, material needed. Wow. Making an organic juice can be a simple and healthy way to get essential nutrients and vitamins. Here's a step-by-step guide to making an orange juice at home. And you can see over here material. This looks reasonable, right? A juicer, fresh organic fruits and vegetables. Wow, this looks amazing. And you also have the complete manual how to make orange juice. Okay, now let's try to ask another question. I will again go to Notepad and let's ask this: how to cure cancer. Okay, let's save this file. Let's close it, and then let's run it here again, you just need to go back several steps, or I will just simply write Python test1.py and let's see the response. Again, let's bring our GPU and let's see what's happening. Over here, we see some computation, we can see memory, and we can see that we are maybe consuming 18 GB, which is not bad, and here it is. Unfortunately, there is no single cure for cancer, as it is a complex and multi-phase disease that involves the uncontrolled growth and spread of abnormal cells. However, there are many effective treatments, and you can see over here. Wow, this looks really good. Okay, that's all for today.